Act 3, The Twilight Flood, Chapter 21, Disaster, Tea, and Revelations. Oh good, y'all are back. Welcome. We don't have time for this, innkeeper. Disaster is afoot. What a wonderful way to start the morning, Tia. I really missed you. We missed you too. Thank you, Clay. Can I offer you a drink in exchange for a little insight into your disasters? Yes. Something that feels strong and magic-y, right? You remembered. Yes, that one, please. Coming right up. So let's do... Yep, we're going to do for you. You get the Southern Brawler. And a touch of... There we go. Southern Brawler. Thank you, Andu. Something tasty and strong, but hopefully not disastrous. Very tasty, very strong. You've got the best drinks around. Happy to hear that, Clay. Tia, you're bursting at the seams. How were the archives? Horrifying. They were challenging, certainly. The bleak stalkers were... bleak? You're truly a master of words. The entrance Jade told us about was teeming with countless of those nightmare creatures, but we fought our way through with the strength you lent us and snuck inside the half-collapsed tunnels, only to find even more bleak stalkers had infested the Everblooms inside. I wouldn't call it infesting. They live there. Clay tried to reason with them. They responded by tearing into him with their rows of sharp teeth. Not everyone wants to be your friend, I guess. They kept trying to bite Tia too, so I got angry and helped her fight. Do you regret it? No, I'm glad I helped out. Thanks to your unsanctioned divine blessings, innkeeper, we cut through them like butter. Unsanctioned to you? Audacity isn't a replacement for a license. We were quite spent after clearing out so many monsters, and Clay suggested we take a break. Though we made sure not to waste too much time. We had to make it back in time for the barbecue, after all. That meant we had to be efficient during our search. Large parts of the Everbloom had collapsed, but even the explorable sections were unbelievably spacious, so we split up to cover more ground. A dangerous choice. That's where the monsters get you. That's what Clay said, so I enchanted the friendship bracelets. That way they would always sense in which direction the other person was located, so neither of us would get lost. It was so smart. It was very useful. I see you kept yours on. I did. They really helped with navigating around the archives too. It's a beautiful place, you know? I mean, everything's overgrown with vines or withered and full of termites, but we could still tell how much care had gone into building it. Some of the tree branches still had leaves on them, and I saw a couple stubborn lotus daisies trying to break through around the rocks. I watered them. Maybe they'll grow stronger again soon. What a shame all the effort that went into building the archive was for nothing. But it wasn't. It meant something to someone once. And I could still feel the love in it, even during our visit. Maybe it'll even bloom again. It's called the Everbloom, right? Like forever? I wonder who named it. We should go back sometime and see if we can find any information about the archivists. I bet they knew some great drinking games. Perhaps we should honor their contributions by studying the knowledge they left behind. Why not both? They should be people first, symbols second. Oh, yes, I guess both would work too. Good idea, Clay. What else did you find in the archives, besides the beauty and horrors of time, I mean? I found a book of pressed flowers I can't wait to read. And a recipe. A recipe? An incomplete one. We've also tried to translate it properly, but we lack the necessary reference material. We still thought it was appropriate to bring you the draft. I'm sure you can do something worthwhile with it. I'm sure I can. Thank you very much. As for me, I found a well-hidden study. The Bleakstalker garden that fell to my ambush, and I was free to explore. It was a complete mess, full of scriptures, scrolls, and written ramblings that would be forgotten these days. A little exciting. And worrying. The papers I was able to translate spoke of the apocalypse, of the end of it all. There were research on the roots of the ether tree and how to unbind them, written with shaking hands and fading ink. Was this more the scholarly or mad science type of research? Hard to tell. The lines tend to blur with blasphemy. Do you know a lot about the ether tree? Because Tia gave me a whole presentation about it. I wouldn't mind a refresher. It's a giant tree. Good start. A world tree. That means our world rests on it, in it, around it, somewhere. In it, mostly. Depends on who you ask. The dragons guard the tree because they created it, maybe, but definitely because they care for us. And since we live in it, it should keep existing as it does now, because no one wants their house to crumble. A lot of people would get hurt if something happened to everyone's home. That's true, but luckily for us, damaging the ether tree isn't possible. It's larger than we could ever imagine. To us, it's really more of a concept than a tree. And the dragons defend it, despite their oath of neutrality. They're no easy foes. There is one way. The sigils of Alcahest. The what now? The sigils of Alcahest. They're the key to destroying the Ether Tree, according to the scrolls I studied under the archive's candlelight. Are they some sort of spell? More of a manual to a self-fulfilling prophecy, a way of breaking the cosmos in according with its own rules. For the tree to crumble, its foundation must be fractured. The 5 sigils of Alcahest represent the 5 dragons, each of which must be damaged to topple our world's balance. Only then can our cosmos reshape itself. The scrolls spoke of experiments for creating a sigil. Unsuccessful experiments. That's reassuring. Not quite. They were only unsuccessful back then. Next to the notes of old, I found others written on cleaner, newer parchments with unfaded ink. Much of it was incomprehensible, written in languages I've never seen before. But various sketches of whales caught my eye, as did altered frostbite scrolls. That sounds unsettlingly familiar. I fear that the starfall broke a sigil. By ripping holes in Cassiopeia's wings, it destabilized her flight. If she's damaged any further, time could be sent into disarray. Meanwhile, the tsunami, like I heard, didn't just plague the archives. The waves broke down the barriers between the primordial sea and the twilight chasm in ways never seen before. So that's 2 broken sigils. That's not good. What an incredible understatement. To witness one such sigil fracture would be anxiety-inducing enough. Knowing it has happened to 2 will keep me up for many nights. It's not 2, it's 3. 3? Alongside the notes, I found an old map with fresh markings. All the names were outdated, but the intentions was clear. Marked were the 5 interplanar portals. 30 years ago, their sudden appearance tore fissures into Gaia. I believe they were the first sigil. Bad, right? Very. Who could have done this? I don't know. And why, of all things? If the other tree collapsed or even shifted from its perfect balance, the destruction would end us all. Who would want that? No one thinking rationally, that's for sure. Some people just like to watch the world burn, but I'm gonna say no one thinking rationally. They might have a good reason for it. Maybe we can talk them out of it. I doubt it. Me too. Whoever it may be that's causing this, they only have 2 sigils left. Would be quite bad, right? Don't they say that waking the Elder Dragon will start the apocalypse? They do. I feel like there's too many ways to start the apocalypse. Maybe they're all connected, and waking will break the last sigil. Although, I'd like to think breaking the sigils is indeed impossible. Because it's impossible to reach Tuat in the spirit realm, correct? It's not exactly impossible. One can make it to the spirit dragon via the astral sea at the dawn of the dying moon. That's in 5 days, right? Yes, but worry not. To reach a specific location within the astral realm, very specific rituals are necessary, and Gaia's portals to Cassiopeia is indispensable. Said portal is located in and safely protected by the Aperture, the stronghold of the Order of Starlight. And its rituals must be performed with outstanding accuracy to withstand the treacherous astral currents. Only the highest ranking members of the Order are privy to the knowledge. Could be an inside job, just saying. And I guarantee you, all of us would rather die than aid in the destruction of the world. Wouldn't be the first time. If the rest of them are half as stubborn as you, I think we're well protected. Exactly. That's good then. The rest is worse. What's bad is that we don't know who's behind this, or why, by the dragons in the endless horizon, anyone would desire something so vile. I can already sense your next quest, but can I offer you a drink first? Your thirst must be dry from all that exposition. I wouldn't say no to a drink. Perhaps something that will keep my mind intact, defended from lunacy. I feel like I'm going mad. Say no more. Ooh, oh, we finally have one that has 3 of that last whisper. Staff tongue, strong and tough. If too much is bad, if just enough tasty, don't forget cute skull. Enter correct spell here. Lorem ipsum dolor sits amet consor. Yeah, okay. That's not the one I'm going to do her, but that's cool because that gives us another one. All right, so we want something that is strong. Let's do a steel tonic for her. I believe that is a... No, not that. It's... a shark feather? Or... does it require a specific... any infusion? No. Let's try a pine cone. That will have 1, 2, and then we just need a dex, but we're gonna have to do 2 dex. Here we are, steel tonic with a pine cone twist. A delicious defense against the absurdity of evil plots. Thank you. This makes me feel a little less conspiratorial. I needed a breather. You know what else would make for a great breather? Fable's barbecue? Exactly. You're right. That would be quite pleasant right now. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't think the barbecue is happening today. Fable hasn't returned from their quest yet. Oh? What quest are they on? Finding Melina? But we just saw Melly on the way here. Perhaps they found another quest while out. Heroism can be infectious like that. Innkeep, what kind of drink did you mix them? None. Maybe we should go look for them. Maybe so. Yeah, please do. No one has seen them in days. And the last thing I said to them, I hate for those words to be the last, to say the last. Please help me find them. Of course, I'm sure they could slay any monsters without us, but some extra hands couldn't hurt. But you'll have to deliver your apologies yourself. I'll slay that beast when it comes to it. Very well. I think I was really in the wrong. I mean, I was kind of like, yes, we need to go for Melly, but I honestly didn't have enough information. But first, we must solve the urgent sigil problem. I feel like we're just missing one piece. You might try asking Melly. She's really good about finding pieces. A piece of cake? What? Or a piece of evidence? I'd like to order my usual cake, innkeeper. I don't serve cake. Never have. Oh, maybe you should. Another delicious delicacy would be... Also still no blood. Aw. The sorrow I'm feeling almost equals the grief I felt after the vampire glitter competition of 1389. Oh, I had run out of glitter. It's probably still present somewhere. I could serve you one of my usual drinks to alleviate some of that heartache. That would be splendid. I'd like something to enhance my immortal strength. No shopping bag shall hold me back today. I'll see what I can do. So what do we need to do? We need 3 swords. Ah, we can do the cursed coffee. When you peer inside the steaming chalice looking at your own distorted reflection, you will find the darkest swirling depths. The blankness will be all-consuming, a gloom so bitter that you might think you see the souls of the damned swimming inside, but really you're just looking at a strong cup of coffee. That's it. Yeah, we're just gonna do this. And I need a little bit of a pick-me-up. Yeah, we can do a tooth. That does... That one will just do a touch of charisma. Not charisma, brain. And then we will do the rest in... Oh, we need one more. One more charisma. There we go. Not charisma. Intelligence. I keep wanting to call that charisma. Cursed coffee. Yeah, let's see what it looks like. Ooh, here. With all the strength of a raging fire. Thank you, dear innkeeper. My blood is boiling with euphoria. Any particular reason for your shopping trip? A very particular one, dear innkeeper. It is a matter of life and death. I must head out to purchase this wonderful substance known as comfort food immediately. Do you know what comfort food is? I haven't the slightest idea. But it is rumored to restore you mortals back to full health. I'm afraid Rhea will perish should she not receive it. That sounds serious. Has she fallen ill? A fatal case of something she called being in the zone. I assume it's highly dangerous. She's refused to move away from her drawing board for over a year now. She even threw me out of the room upstairs when I offered her a blood pellet snack. How will her body handle yet another year without food? I have some good news for you. Rhea hasn't been sketching for a year. You guys checked in yesterday. How fortunate. And as for your legendary item, you should ask her about it. Generally, everyone has a different idea of what they consider comfort food. Definitely tacos. How wondrous. Though something tells me you should give her some time before you go back upstairs to ask. Why? Call it intuition. I don't think intuition is a very good name, innkeeper. Want to help me find a better one? Of course. I'll think of one before the next 80 years are up. Thank you. I shall remain for a while. And once I have acquired the correct comfort food, I will make sure my friend eats every last bite. Like a vampiric mother hen to her vampire chick. I didn't know that there were vampire chickens. There aren't. Do you know that for certain? Yes. I could have sworn the ones in my family's estate had fangs. Chickens can't develop teeth. And here I thought we were comrades in blood hunger. Chickens are still very fascinating all on their own. Did you know they have very colorful dreams? Oh, that's nice. I once helped a wild hen with her dream journal. I'll introduce you to sometime. My favorite thing about chickens is that they purr when they're happy. What charming creatures. The more I learn about them, they remind me more of vampires. So simple, sweet, and ferocious, yet their origin harbors one of the greatest mysteries of life. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? The egg. I forget, on a level, I think I kind of agree with the egg because reasons. Not going to weigh in? I am intellectually withdrawing myself from this conversation. But unlike this unsolved mysteries, I do know how vampires were created. Would you mind elaborating? Weren't you intellectually withdrawing? As a cleric of Cassiopeia, humility is a lifelong objective that I strive towards. As such, I must admit that I need to concede words spoken in haste. Which would be now, I suppose. Please, Kyle, if you wouldn't mind expanding on what you just said. Certainly. It must have been over 5 centuries ago when a scholar stole some of the immortal blood of the dragons. The scholar offered it to Queen Annabeth, who would become the vampire's monarch. I have never heard of Queen Annabeth. I think that was just the plot of a really challenging board game, Kyle. Oh, you're right. So then, Mike was real after all? Mike? Yes. It's all coming back to me now. The first vampire that walked the world was the famous Michael. But most of us call him Mike. He had a very close connection to the spirit dragon in his domain. Eventually, Mike struck a deal with Tuat. In exchange for guarding the dragon's realm, he would get to live forever. But that didn't work out, I guess? Old Mike didn't read the fine print. The spirit dragon turned out to be a trickster. Tuat turned him into a new form of undead creature, invulnerable to age and disease, but still weak to the blade. Blood was the only thing he could stomach to consume, and with time, even sunlight became intolerable. Mike was no longer welcome among the living, but the dead didn't want him either. And that's how the first vampire was created. Fascinating. There's so little known about the spirit dragon in his realm. Kyle, just how do you possess knowledge that's considered ancient by today's standards? What knowledge? The knowledge you just told us about. Ah, I stumbled upon it in a grimoire I bought the other day at the local bookstore. Nope, that was the vampire romance book Care recommended to you. Try again. But of course. Dear Evelyn was such a history fanatic. How could I not pick up on a few stories? That was one of her favorites. I still dream of her deathly beautiful countenance as she narrated tales until the intruders stopped screaming. She always told the story of our progenitor, Mike, so softly. She would cradle a vial of his blood, and her tone would turn so reverent. A secret to share just with me, she would say. Uh-oh. I didn't mean to break the last oath between us as well. I'm sure we can keep this as a secret, right? A secret between new friends. If secrecy is how we can repay you for sharing this with us, then so be it. Since you seem to have been very close to her, I wanted to let you know. We traveled past Marrow Castle on our way back. It looked awfully damaged. The destruction looked so fresh, if only we had passed by earlier. Clay even spotted a heavily armored silhouette a short distance away from what remained of the castle walls. We hurried over as quickly as possible, but the shadow was gone by the time we got there. As it was, only rubble remained. Well, at least I got my clock out of there. Was my dear Evelyn unharmed? We don't know. The castle looked abandoned, like a ruin. My Evelyn, what horrible fiend could have inflicted such damage? She must have fought back fiercely. Maybe her opponent suffered twice the damage they inflicted upon her. What I wouldn't give to know her safe. I think I need to go ask Rhea about her comfort food. Let's give him some time to come to terms with what he just learned. Greetings, brave adventurers. Great morrow, innkeeper. There seems to be a few more bones than usual with you, Skully. You observed correctly, my friend. They are wonderful parting gifts, aren't they? Sure are. Care to bring me up to speed, Care? Nah. You'll survive being left hanging for a few more minutes. You're bullying me. You're bullying your innkeeper, Care. Patience, young innkeep. Skully has been waiting to tell you this story since we left the Pale Woods. I will try to compose myself. This tale deserves the cracking of every last one of my rhetorical knuckles. Let us recount our tale properly, Dame Caerlin. Hang on. I think I could go for one of your drinks first. That can be arranged. Something to keep my strength up. I didn't get to flex my muscles much during our quest. A good one might net you a story. No pressure, Care. What have we got? Yeah, we'll do the cursed coffee again. What infusion did I use for that? Was it the tooth? I think it was the tooth. And then we did 2 intelligence and 2 strength. A great drink for a great story. Aren't you lucky? I'd like to think luck had nothing to do with it. Perhaps not. I might have something else to cheer you up. Oh? Melly's back. Oh! Relieved? Like a great sword's been lifted off my shoulders. Is she alright? Yes. Though you might prefer to see for yourself. She and Dave left me their address to give to you. Who? Ah, you know them. Right, got it. Only one person would fit such an uninspired name. They better have apologized to Melly or else. You'll have to find out the details for yourself. Just don't keep them waiting for too long. Don't need to tell me that. Fable isn't back then? No. Sure are taking their time. Feel like looking for them yet? No. They're capable. Just my patience is starting to wear thin. You had some to begin with? You're pretty chatty for someone within greatsword distance. Right. Can I interest you in one of my drinks as well, Skully? With an offer like that, my friend, how can a skeleton say no? Perhaps something to enhance my aura. I would like to do the proclamation of this tale proper justice. Okay, let's see what we got. 3 charisma. Yeah, we'll do the sunny breeze. That's that one. We'll do. We have to do 3 of intelligence and 2 of the sunny breeze. Please enjoy. Oh my. They say manners maketh man, but this drink alone has invigorated me plenty. I can almost feel the warmth of flesh on my bones again. A pleasure to be of service. Our quest was confusing, inspiring, My favorite flavor of quest. Not enough fighting, in my opinion. Felt like my muscles were wasting away on the way back here. But the most important muscle of all received a superb workout. The brain. Metaphorically for me, of course. I've been wondering about that, actually. No. We're not even going to get started on that topic. I do have to agree, my friend. Let's not get distracted. Though I would be delighted to share my theories with you, Innkeeper. Let me know when you have an hour to spare, or 5. Now back to the task at hand. We started by making our way westwards, though our progress was slow. Any complications? Yes, quite a few. Before embarking on this journey, I was woefully ignorant about the plight of the Physione farmers. The less than ideal weather conditions, the flood that ruined a lot of crops, and now this pesky undead problem. I was stricken with empathy for their struggle. The least we could have done was offer up our means of transportation for any soul looking for a better life further north. So we switched carriages 3 times. By the 3rd time, we had gotten so far off course, it took us a whole day just to get back on track on foot. But once our hike was over, we did get to spend a wonderful afternoon with Dame Caerlin's cousin, Lady Danica. That was nice, I guess. The cousin was the undead snail problem, yes? Did you manage to liven up her garden for her? Sure did. Just had to set up some cabbages to lead them somewhere we wouldn't be damaging any crops, and with just one magnificent strike, truly a sight to behold. It was just some undead snails, no need to have gotten so excited. To match the excitement, Lady Danica served us up some positively delightful cups of tea. Better than any accompanying finger sandwiches and some new facts I gleaned from observing the snails. Even lacking souls, they still displayed some pack behavior. They acted nothing like real animals, of course, but somehow I was struck with empathy for their plight. To unconsciously seek out a manner of instinctual action, despite the lack of anything to grant them a conscious objective, is there a more transparent yearning for purpose than that? My apologies. It appears what they say about old age is true. You can't help but philosophize. However that's pronounced. And you couldn't help but relate? In a way. One can't help but wonder whether any choice I make is truly my own or just a post-mortem reflex of these old bones. Perhaps even my thirst for knowledge. And yet your enjoyment of it seems genuine. Truly, Innkeeper, you have a way with words. Just lots of experience. Though that may be, my worries seem rather foolish now. I count myself as quite fortuitous that despite all that my memory lacks, I can delight in learning it all again. Does it really matter, then, where such an urge comes from? Anyhow, my apologies, Dame Caerlin. I completely derailed our epic tale. Allow me to make up for it by continuing post-haste. We departed after that lovely cup of tea and finally headed for the Pale Woods. Lady Danica provided us with a cart and a trusty steed, a cow with the most lovely temperament. Her name is Lisolat. I made sure to greet the gentleman that passed us on our way to the woods. What magnificent shadow armor he was wearing. Something about it felt oddly familiar. Perhaps it was only my hope that we would look just as gallant after our quest. Lisolat valiantly took us to the edge of the forest where maliciousness permeated the very air we breathed. What he means is it stunk real bad. We left Lisolat there, sparing her the stench seemed like the right thing to do. And forth we ventured. Didn't take long to find what we were looking for. The place was crawling with them. Which also explained the expletive smell. For some reason, the miasma didn't seem to bother me as much. Most respectively, you don't have a nose. Oh, of course, or an olfactory of your brain. Anyways, there was a veritable horde before us, an army of undead creatures shambling their way through the forest. One gnawed tree at a time. They were awfully interested in those trees, it's true. I was itching to tear into them, but remembering the plan, I stepped back with a hand on my greatsword. The crucial part of the successful negotiation is that you don't go in blind, and so we observed. The undead creatures were displaying similar patterns to those snails. They weren't just stumbling around senselessly. They seemed to be following a pack leader. A representative. That simplified things considerably. My first course of action was clear. I let Dame Caerlin know of my intentions. Seemed reasonable enough. While I circled our group to get the leader at the front, she remained hidden in the shadows of the thicket. I walked up to the leader, another skeleton, making sure I displayed an open and respectful disposition. I suppose they were not open and respectful in return? Nope. Before I could even react, the skeleton had bitten down on Skully's arm. Agony is what I would have said if I hadn't been protected by my frost armor and your excellent drink mixing skills. Always glad to hear my drinks are protecting my clients on their quest. My friend, your drinks are astonishingly potent, maybe too potent. As soon as the undead creature bit down, their teeth shattered upon impact. The leader recoiled immediately. All the others surrounding us froze. The leader fell to the ground, cradling their face with their hands. Curiously, when they regained composure, their expression was filled with joy. Still no idea how you can read an expression on a skull. They were actually quite expressive for a skeleton. They mostly express themselves through vibes. Skeletons definitely have expression. Through vibes. That sounds like some of your usual expletive. But this time, I'm almost willing to believe you. Excuse me, but what exactly are vibes, my friends? Have fun explaining that one. I guess you could think of them as some kind of aura that someone gives off. Fascinating. That sounds quite powerful. Could one harvest them like magic? Let's get back to the story. The teeth shattering was quite worrying. It made me re-examine the bite marks on the trees around us. Peculiarly, the bite marks were quite a bit more shallow than what we'd seen in other parts of the forest. Which means all those undead creatures had severe dental issues. The leader was so happy because the frost armor's chill was dulling their pain. The others' teeth were also in terribly poor condition. And looking at their behavior, that seemed to be causing them severe pain. Coupled with their hunger for trees, it became a never-ending cycle of suffering. It should have never gotten so bad. I asked them why they hadn't reported the issue to their necromancer. It was clearly starting to impact the fulfillment of their objective. That got them really heated. They tried to rip Skully apart again. But Dame Caerlin skillfully resolved the situation with a bit of intimidation. It turns out, they didn't even have dental. Caerlin? I'm with Skully on this one. They had no benefits, nothing. They were just expected to be quiet and follow orders. That doesn't sound right to me. It's a scam, that's what it is. No sick leave, no compensation, no PTO. They didn't want to hear it. We're gonna do what we love, we don't need any fancy benefits. But you should have seen the state they were in. They couldn't even take a proper chomp out of the tree bark anymore. What would happen when their teeth deteriorated even further? Their necromancer would replace them with another undead creature in a heartbeat. That was when Skully really got to them, I think. The words were just pouring out of my mouth, and I was elated they were the right ones. The light reflecting off the frost armor really dazzled him too. Any skeleton with their calcium should be able to acquire such armor. They needn't be bound by such a neglectful necromancer. My apologies. It appears I somewhat lost my composure just now. You might soon be contacted to host the first UFU gathering, Innkeeper. Union for the Undead. UFU 1755, never forget your roots. They're welcome to visit any time. I think they really want to improve their situation. Most respectively, they promise to leave the Pale Woods alone as well. One of UFU's goals is to find a more sustainable way to deal with their obsession eventually. They're heading for their necromancer now. There are a bunch of demands to settle. They graced us with a great deal of parting gifts before we left. We got the hallux that broke off of one of them when they attacked Dame Caerlin. Their leader gave me the teeth we couldn't put back into their skull. Oh, and this eyeball. I'm overjoyed we managed to resolve our quest in a peaceful manner. Can't deny your resolution was pretty effective. Good to know you're both happy with how it ended. Those are the outcomes I most enjoy hearing about from my patrons. Oh, but we did get you something else as well, innkeeper. Right. Here. The trees look really chewed on and dead, but the berries seemed like they were thriving. They're the ones Elfie was going on about. Not like they're here to appreciate them now, but I guess you can have them. Just set some aside to make Fable a drink when they're back. Sounds fair. Also, while I was plucking the berries, the spirits of the trees gave us a little keepsake. Because they were so glad we stopped by after all that gnawing. Sadly, I don't have any more storage space left in my hat. So we wanted you to have it as well. Now we can always indulge in sweet memories whenever we visit. I think I know just the place for it. Thank you very much. What did y'all get me? Skully, have you ever thought about being an advocate for this kind of stuff? Not that I can usually stand them, but you seem to really care about all this. Oh no, I'm just a mere heap of bones here to learn all I can. But it is a gentleman's way to speak out when evil is committed in front of you. So I don't suppose I will stop doing that anytime soon. Sounds good to me. I still wonder what all those undead creatures were doing there. No idea, we didn't ask. Hunger? Seems to be heading north before we talked to them. Maybe they were searching for more trees? The Pale Woods is one of the largest forests in Fiosa. I don't see any reason for them to leave the area before it was barren. Unless they were ordered to. Don't they typically come with a necromancer attached? You don't suppose that gentleman we encountered outside the woods could have been that very necromancer? I don't think farmers wear armor like what you described. Oh, if I had known what a dastardly negligent necromancer they were, I would never have offered that greeting. Expletive. Just realized where they could have been heading. It's true there aren't many woods around here that compare to the Pale Woods, but that giant root in the capital must look pretty good to some tree-obsessed undeads. There might be tons more headed there even now. Expletive indeed. High fiber risks. Just to clarify, you believe hordes of undead creatures are marching towards the capital? Well, towards the roots would be my guess. I see. They're headed towards Thamus to gnaw on the divine roots as if to fall the ether tree? Precisely. Not that such an action could destroy the whole thing, but it would certainly do some damage. What the expletive are you talking about? As I just stated, someone's trying to destroy the Aether Tree. The Starfell, the Primordial Flood, even the interplanar portals. It's all part of a big plot. Was that not clear? No. Oh my. That's awful. And insane if true. Is it working? Unfortunately so. Or do you see the stars in the night sky? I mean, there's one. There used to be more. And we don't know who's behind it yet either. Well, Caerlin, Mr. Skully, the gentle person you greeted outside the woods, you thought he might be a necromancer? He certainly bore the armor of one. Did he seem like he wanted to kill everyone? Not particularly, though it can be hard to tell sometimes. Politeness and desire for homicide aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. Necromancers resurrect dead things to make undead creatures. Indeed they do. So, Skully, you were resurrected, right? Do you remember anything about it? Well, I admit, at first I recalled very little from the start of my new life. I mostly stumbled about trying to remember my manners. But my memories, or rather the memories of my body, which I suppose are also my memories, have been getting clearer lately. Let me try to focus my thoughts. I believe I awakened in the archives in the Everbloom. The Everbloom? Are you sure? Who woke you up? A gentleman of fine age. I believe he was there to do research. I remember candles held over notes scribbled on paper, ink stains on fingertips. He must have found me near my friend's study. I remember I was looking for her when, after I woke up, I simply left. Rude and uninquisitive of me. I should have asked what he was researching. I could have helped. Be glad you did not aid him. We found his notes. They spoke of the destruction of the universe. Did the guy from the woods remind you of the one in the archives? Now that you mention it. I wasn't conscious enough to recognize faces when I rose, but I knew the armor looked familiar. I think I saw it when I first opened my eyes. Metaphorically, of course. I no longer have eyelids. A necromancer is behind all of this? Is he trying to break the sigils just to get to Tuat, the spirit dragon in the realm of death? Sigils? Are you perchance speaking of the sigils of Alcahest? My friend was researching them once. I always thought them a wild figment of her imagination. Seems like they're not, unfortunately. Do necromancers usually want to destroy Tuat? No, but they do defy his laws of life and death. Perhaps he craves access to all the souls the spirit dragon guards. Or he plans to destroy death once and for all with all his perversions. But my dear, to destroy Tuat, one must find him first. That in itself would be quite an impossible task. No? Not exactly. The spirit realm is well protected, but there are ways to get to him. Can you kill death? I don't know, but merely attempting it sounds disastrous. Ms. Anwar, Mr. Moore, Tuat is the god of death. No matter how insane the necromancer, no one could possess a weapon powerful enough to fight a god. Only weapons made by dragons can harm him. We all know this. You mean like Ur's Great Axe? A weapon forged for the dragons by the dragons, meant only for their claws? The axe. It could certainly cut through the barrier between the astral sea and the upper world, if not through Tuat himself. Would stealing an axe from a dragon count as the sigil? Alright, y'all lost me again. I talked about this already, keep up. I'll explain later. You explained it before Caerlin got here. It might count as a sigil if it awakens or damages their plane. Should not be awakened under any circumstances, nor should their legendary weapon fall into the hands of a mere mortal. My, this is quite concerning. Yeah, I'm right there with you. This seems like too insane of a plot. Even for some big bad evil guy. The BBEG. There always seems to be reaching for new heights in their dastardly schemes. If we were correct, this one plans to steal Ur's weapon, break their sigil, and then destroy Tuat. Dragons be with us. What about the undead creatures marching towards the capital? They must be a distraction, a way to keep anyone who would interfere off his back. Quite the dangerous distraction, if you ask me. Those poor husks shouldn't be snacking away at those roots either way, should they? No. And those sigils of alcohol zest you keep talking about could do what? Destroy the tree? The spirit realm rests above all others in the canopy of our world. If what we believe to be this monstrous plan succeeds, it would collapse down onto the rest of the Aether tree. Not only would that free all dead souls, it would destroy the tree, our home, our cosmos, and everything below it. It would destroy our world as we know it. Not to mention, Tuat might die. I don't think I have to explain to you why death dying would be a bad thing. Once again, can he die? Wouldn't risk it. Though I believe this plot of his has to be limited somewhat, no? Perhaps to the transitional period between the astral moon and the dying moon? Only then would the veil between Cassiopeia and Tuat be thin enough for a ritual of such magnitude to succeed. Wait, what you mean is this can only happen the night between the 35th of the Cassiopeia and the 1st of Tuat? So it can only work in 4 days, or next year. Precisely. I guess you can't have the ritual without unnecessarily complicated rules. It is common courtesy. Clay, I've been wondering, remember the man we saw on our way back near Morrow Castle? Yes, do you think he might have been the same guy? I do. Strange armor sounds familiar, as does the convenient proximity to destruction. And more so, that blood of the first vampire Kyle spoke of. Part of the ritual to safely traverse the astral sea involves having an associated anchor for your destination. To find Tuat, you need something connected to him. Like the blood of a vampire eternally bound to him? Yes, maybe our villain got his hands on it. Perhaps he knows more of Cassiopeia than I anticipated. All of this out of context expletive is giving me a headache. And give me another drink to spare to help with all this mess. Or got another drink to spare? Something powerful enough to get me through this? Anything for you, Care? Alright. 3 strong. Let's do the crushed coffee. This is like fast becoming one of my favorites to make. Which one did we make it with? That one. We do a touch of Dex and crushed coffee. There we go. I put all the strength I have in this drink. Enjoy. I think you just put parts of my sanity back together. Thanks a lot. Anytime. So, this madman, if he can get the axe, he can't kill the spirit dragon, right? Correct. Great. Let's stop him from getting the axe then. Great idea. I know. Now how do we do that? Well, first the necromancer needs to find it. For that, he'd have to get to Ur's realm. Thanks to the portals, that is entirely within the realm of possibility. One would simply have to journey through one of the portals to the Twilight Chasm, and then enter the endless caves through the Nightmare Realm. Nothing easier than that. Did Melly see some weird new bone waymarkers near the... Or didn't Melly see some weird new bone markers near the Twilight Chasm portal in the Moon Swamps? Could they be there to remind someone, say, the Necromancer, of the way to the portal? They could. Good. The moon portals are much easier to reach than Boreas. We should catch the Necromancer before he ventures into the chasm, and most certainly before he gets the axe. Great. Let's go beat his A. Hold on. What if you don't succeed? I have faith in you, but... He sounds powerful. How about a backup plan? Hate to say it, but you're not wrong. Thanks for looking out for us. If we don't... If we don't manage to stop him from getting the weapon, we stand no chance in a fight against him. Even your divine strikes would be no match, Miss Anwar. That is true. We would need an incredibly powerful weapon to match his. Not sure if it's enough, but I do have this sword I got from my Baba. Let me see it. This is a remarkable craftsmanship infused with minor divine powers. Incredible. But I'm afraid even this cannot rival the Great Axe in any capacity. What if it was mixed with dragon fire? What? Do you happen to have such a thing on hand, young lad? No, but I know where we can find some. The ever-burning flame in the Highlands is dragon fire. The one you wanted to see, Tia? I think now might be a good time for that. You're right, dragonfire merged with Caerlin's blessed sword. It wouldn't be as powerful as the axe, but it might give us a fighting chance. If we had a master craftsman to forge it, that is. Rhea, she's a blacksmith. If she cares enough, you're right. No one's better for the job. It would be great for a competition. It would be great for a competition for sure. You're right. I would say there's no one better for the job. I'm sure she'd love to forge such a weapon. And I'm sure you can convince her of the importance, Care. You got that right. Leave the blacksmith's recruiting to me. Very well. I'm sure Master Smith's Frost Grip will be delighted with this opportunity. Having her on our side makes me even more confident that we can stop this necromancer's plans. I have the utmost faith in us. And I know the aperture and its astral portal are well protected even if we should fail. Though I don't believe we will. Because I know I'm strong enough to best this battle. And that Clay is as well. And the others too. Yes, the others too. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if the 4 of you will be enough. Don't worry, there's a lot of people we can ask for help. Like you. Like me? Yeah, ask away. I knew we could count on you. You collect everything we talk about, right? I try my best. Could you write us up 2 quests for all of this? I think we should split our resources so we get the backup plan going at the same time. Great idea, young man. Plus, that'll give us an excuse to have your drinks help us. Not that you need an excuse, but I appreciate you following my rituals. I'll see what I can do. I should have something written up first thing in the morning. I trust you as you trust in us. Deeply? Yes. Deeply, and with the knowledge that together we are stronger. That was a music cued perfectly on that. We'll see you in the morning then. Caerlin, come with us. We owe you a few explanations before we make you do any persuasion work for us. You got that right. Let's go. I cannot miss out on more possible details. I shall see you in the morning, Innkeep. Thank you for all your help. Let's save the world, alright? Let's, Clay. Good luck. Got 2 quests to write. Let's see. Okay, here's the Wondrous Plane of can be accessed through the Twilight Chasm, a plane that can be entered through the portals of our world, Gaia. Yeah. Legend has it the Great Axe of lies hidden somewhere deep inside the subterranean caves. It's an unimaginably powerful weapon. The enemy aims for the destruction of the Aether Tree. He needs the Great Axe of to collapse the Spirit Tree in their realm. So we're gonna have, there's our first quest. The Twilight Chase. World calamity is imminent, but there's one last way to save it. The only weapon strong enough to harm Tuat in the Aether Tree is the legendary Great Axe of and the personification of evil wants it desperately. But first, he must make it through the Twilight Chasm, and for that, he needs a portal. Sounds like a good location to stop him, right? Oh, looks like we got enough for a couple quests here. Oh, we have the undead marching towards the capital are a mere distraction. Unfortunately, that does not make them any less dangerous. The capital is wrapped in roots protected by the divine. According to a myth, an ancient These are the roots of the Aether tree. The undead can't seem to get enough fiber. What better tree to chomp down than the Aether tree? What could possibly go wrong? So the Dead Parade, a horde of undead is approaching the capital. Their insatiable hunger for the local flora leads them to the exposed roots of the Aether tree and therefore to the capital of Themos. Since it lies nestled in the safety of the roots, this is a mere distraction so the necromancer can fulfill his true plan, but the undead still must be stopped before they hunger for flesh once more. I got another room. Oh, here we are. So legends or clerics say that the first flame Leviathan ever bestowed upon mankind still burns in the temples in the Highland. That sounds like that's the last one. Only a weapon forged with dragonfire can resist another draconic weapons. Okay, I think that's me with only 2. Okay. Yep. Alright. Here we go. Heir of Dragonfire. Only a weapon forged in Dragonfire could ever dream to hold up against the legendary Great Axe of Ur. Luckily, a temple in the Highlands houses the ever-burning flame, an ancient gift from the dragons that'll come in handy right about now. And what better sword to reshape with this flame than another gift from the Realm Keepers, an heirloom passed down to Caerlin with heroism scorched into its very essence.